So now that this has had sufficient time to dry, I'm going to go back into it just to make the corners a little bit darker. And for this, I'm going to use the dry technique. I'm turning my paper so when you're working, a lot of people will restrict themselves. Turn the paper whatever direction you need. I like to turn it a little bit so it's a little bit easier for me. Some people who are left-handed find if they turn it this way. And again, if you are left-handed, you'll find you tend to hover over a lot more, or you might rest your hand down more. That's not always the case, but again, you can always put something down. I'm going to take this because I want to make sure I don't make a mistake. I'm going to kind of lay it out. Again, if these other shapes were wet, I would not put that paper down, but they're still dry. So this way I can put my hand down without smudging or smearing. So I've got my water and my green. Now, if you want to add a little bit to this, you can. I'm going to come in with, there's two greens in my palette. This is a little bit more turquoisey. So I'm going to use my regular green, and I'm going to add the slightest hint of purple to it, and I'm mixing it kind of over here in this. This is actually the top of a Yeti cup. I would not recommend something dark like this. I would probably use a plastic paper plate would probably be best. As long as it's plastic. Don't use paper, it'll absorb. But I'm just going to mix this color over here and make it just a little bit darker. And then, I'm going to test it on this paper so I can see, what it looks like. Decide if I want a little bit more green in it, which I think I like it with a little bit more green. So now that I've got this is rather dark, so I'm going to be very, very careful when I come in here, and I'm going to start in the center. And I'm just going to add a touch of it, the tiniest bit, and then rinse my brush out and almost kind of blot it before I spread it out. And if I need to, I can kind of blot the edges a little, because I just want it to be a little bit darker at the center. Okay. So I'm going to come in and do this along all the edges. Just kind of fan it out. I can even use a Q-tip if I want to have more control. I just want it to blend a little bit more. I don't want it to be all green, much how I have dark to light with the charcoal or the pencil. I want to have that with these. So I'm going to coming in ever so lightly in the corner, and then rinsing my brush out and stretching it a little bit. I just put a dab of this super dark in there just to see what it would do. This is where I want you to kind of play around with it. Whatever you do on one shape, though, make sure you do it all the way through. Now this may seem kind of tedious. Now over here on this side, I have to be careful because I have, the other shape to contend with. So I'm just going to kind of bring it down with the water before I blend it out. And do that again. Make sure I don't kind of hold this like this so I don't mess it up. Darkest down there, and spread it up. this is really where you get to a matter of taste. And again, like, you know, where it starts to go from dark to light and light to dark, and you can make it as dark as you want or as light as you want. Some water here, kind of smooth that a little bit. And I can let this dry and go over it again if I want to. Really, it's just a matter of taste, of opinion, of what you like. But this is what you would do if you wanted to go back in and kind of darken it. Get some water here. Kind of blend that a little bit more. I don't really like how I blended that one. I think I'll blend it more into here. There we go. That's what I would do if I was doing watercolor.